Looking from the bow to the stern, you can see all the bulkheads. There's a horizontal bulkhead there just in front of the fuel tank void, and just behind the fuel tank void they're all longitudinal bulkheads. All the bulkheads are 5mm plate all the way to the back of the transom, so they tie in with the transom for support and strength. There was also 100mm stringers just running up the section there, just under the fuel tank void, also bracketed to the back of the transom. There's the 5mm longitudinal bulkheads tying in with the transom. Just there you have your 100mm stringers, also going supporting the floor, giving it strength, running to the transom. And when they get to the transom, they're also gusseted. Also, there is a 100mm stringer right up the keel that gives the keel the strength, even though it's a solid keel anyway. And then that has a massive bracket that runs all the way up to the back of the transom, right up underneath the motor. There's no flex at all in the transom once the motor's on. It's capable of taking a 200 plus motor. The fuel tank void, that's been built to survey conditions. It runs to the side of the boat. That's so the fillers on the side of the boat, which it has to be for survey conditions, so any fuel spillage just runs out of the boat, not in it. It also has to have a pipe that runs through the back of the fuel tank void through to the transom and out the back of the boat. So if there is a spill, it's contained and can be released, so it's not in the hull of the boat. The PVC pipe there, because it's a centre console, all the steering controls and stuff will run down through that and up under the console from the transom panel. The horizontal bulkhead in front of the fuel tank void, that's exactly 2100 to the knuckle where the chine meets, up there. On the other side of that thing, and the bulkhead there, with 100mm stringers all going up to a big bracket on the keel, which gives it heaps of strength if you ever punch a rock, so you won't cave the front in. And these stringers are all tied in. They've all got they're all bracketed all the way through to give it extra support, so there's no flex. The ribs are 40 by 40 RHS. At this stage it's just ready for a bit of foam. The channel that runs across the back there doesn't run all the way across that stage because that's got to be cut out for the walk-through transfer. At this stage it's pretty much been cleaned out, ready for the plastic to go down and put the foam in. That's a 5mm bulkhead, it's a 5mm longitudinal bulkhead. All gives it strength all the way along through the floor. There's no flex, no buckles. And once the foam's in, you get a terrific smooth ride. They do have a bit of weight in them, but that's where the ride comes from. It's better than the banging and clanging and broken ribs you get with the conventional ribbed boat. Bulkheads are the way to go. The fuel tank void is a bit bigger than the actual tank for obvious reasons. It will fit a 300 litre tank in it approximately, and once the tank's in, that'll be supported with some RHS cross bracing so we can build the floor down over the top, and we'll pour a little bit of foam in each of the corners just to support it and pack it tight. There's usually you usually get a 20 year life out of an aluminium tank, a 5mm tank, but you probably get longer since it's contained inside its own void. It's got 200mm wide gunnels on it, going up into a big radius section, which means pretty much once the checker plate floor's in, you can walk right up to the front and you use all the floor. Once the floor's on, the transom panel will come in, the back transom panel. The back transom section there is actually 40mm lower than the actual floor height here, to allow for the self-draining decks once we put the scuppers in. But the water should only float around the chine line. I think the floor is about 200mm higher than the chine, so you've got plenty of floor out of water. The foam that's going in it, there's twice as much foam going in it that needs to be. It probably only needs 1.2 cubic metres, but there's actually 2.4 cubic metres going in it. So even loaded up with gear, it's pretty much unsinkable. There's no way you'd sink it. So 2.4 cubic metres means it'll float 2.4 tonne. So it's more than enough foam to save your life. Even if it did flip over in a big sea, you'd still have one big life raft to cling onto. Once the floor's in, I'll put the bow rails on it, put the transom panel in the back of it, put the inspection holes in and things like that for the motor. Then it'll be winched out of the shed. It's going to have a hard top centre console in it, and I'll build the console in the shed while the boat's outside, and then fit it later. Okay, we've just put the foam in the boat. This foam is approved by Survey in Tassie. We've got plastic laying under the foam. Just put a bit of plastic around it, just so there's no reaction with the aluminium and the foam when it gets in the salt water, if it gets any water in it. Next step's to put the checker plate floor on. The checker plate floor is 4mm, and that'll be plug welded on top of the cross bracings on the floor there. So there's 4.2 cubic metres of foam there. That'll float 2.4 tonne. And there's no way, well, I couldn't imagine this will ever have 2.4 tonne in it. Okay, so we've put some rails on it. Put the anchor wheel in it. Bow spit on the end there. I've just got to put the rollers on it. We've got some side pockets either side. Fuel tank void's still open. We've still got to make the fuel tank. The rails run all the way to the back of the boat. They just taper down to a smaller rail. The transom panel, that's actually make that a watertight unit, so the batteries and things don't get wet. I've still got to fold the door up, put the door on. We've got the walkway transom through here. That's just the back of the boat. So we've got to make a door for the waterproof cupboard there for the batteries. The motor cables run down through that hole there, and they'll pop back up through there into the centre console. So it's all under the floor, and it's all contained in a 100mm PVC tube. We're going to be dragging it out of the shed shortly so we can weld the back up and build the console and things in the shed. There's not enough room. Got extra large side pockets there for extra foam if anyone wants to put extra foam in it, but it's got 2.4 cubic metres under the floor, which is more than enough to float it. Like I said before, the fuel tank with the actual fuel filler's got to run up to the side of the boat in case it goes into survey. So that's if there's any fuel spills that runs out the side of the boat. Okay, the boat's been taken outside just so we can do some work on the back of it because there's not enough room in the shed. There's a little bit of welding to do on the back still because we couldn't get at it before. The bottom of the keel's just got to be trimmed and welded. You can see the pipe there from the this for the fuel tank void. Bit of TIG welding to do up the sides. Just a little bit of welding. Center console's got to be made. Put the fuel tank in, a couple of doors, and she's all done. Okay, we're just fabricating the tank. Fuel tank's 300 litres. Got the filler there, the pickup and the breather. The pickup goes all the way into the bottom of the tank. We've just got to put the baffles in next. Okay, I've put some baffles in. Put some flat bars on top, just some leftover 5mm, just so I can plug weld the lid into. It's just a matter of cleaning it out now and putting the lid on. Okay, so we're just pressure testing the tank. We've got air line hooked up to the tank up here. Just down to a diving compressor. It's got plenty of air in. We're just squirting it with some hot soapy water along the welds. And what we're looking for is bubbles of air. It's really important to make sure you got no leaks. Otherwise, once it's in the boat and full of fuel, you won't be welding it. I'll just turn it over onto all the welds and check all the welds. I'll check them twice and make sure it's thoroughly before the tank's fitted. You only need a bit of warm water and some washing up liquid. Use the soapy water. Just make sure you get all the welds. The top of it's plug welded into the baffles. We need to make sure we check them as well. Okay, we found one little hole just in the bottom corner. You can just see it bubbling there. So we'll let the air out and we'll repair that with a TIG, and then we'll retest it. But that's the only one we found. Okay, so the tank's been tested. There's no more leaks. There was only that one little hole. We've just got to cut these blanks off. We'll put the air in and fit the tank. Okay, the tank's in, the floor supports are on, so we've just got to put the checker plate floor over. We need to leave a section for the centre unit, that section there, so that'll be a removable hatch there in the middle of the floor, so the centre unit can be fitted, and if it needs to be modified or replaced or anything, it can be got at. Just tack the console in. She's pretty much ready to go. Just got to fit the windows, clean up some welding, give it a wipe down, get all the smoke off it, and we've got to fit the windows, put a trailer under it. She's ready for a motor.